I'm Jessica, 28 years old. I started dating my husband through a friend's introduction, and we got married a year later. At first, I thought he was just an ordinary guy, neither particularly good nor bad. But about 3 months into our marriage, his flaws started to stand out, and I deeply felt that I had made a mistake by marrying him. The first flaw, my husband can't make decisions, and always consults mother-in-law or sister-in-law when in doubt. The second flaw, he has no sense of money management and spends everything he has. The third flaw, he does nothing at home. Absolutely nothing. The list of his flaws seemed endless. I knew I was also at fault for not noticing his flaws before getting married. Looking back, I wonder why I didn't notice them. I probably didn't want to miss out on getting married, so I must have unconsciously turned a blind eye to his faults. There was one more crucial thing among his flaws that I shouldn't forget. It was the presence of his sister, Donna, who was extremely stingy with money, a real penny pincher. Donna, still single, lives with mother-in-law. Our house is about a 3-minute walk from my husband's family home, and Donna would frequently come over for no reason, lounge on our couch watching TV, and make endless demands like wanting coffee or pizza. I found it annoying, as I couldn't clean the room, and responding to her demands was bothersome, but I couldn't ask her to leave or not to come so often. Sometimes when Donna came to my house, I had to go shopping. Then she would always come with me. Once in the grocery store, she'd use her own cart to shop extensively, and at the checkout she'd smile and say to me, "Sorry, Jessica, I don't have enough money on me right now. Can you pay for me? I'll bring the money tomorrow, promise." We had shopped together many times, but Donna never had money and never brought it the next day as she promised. One day, I said to Donna, "Donna, I don't want to say this, but please pay for your own shopping." Donna replied with an embarrassed smile, "Oops, sorry, I forgot my wallet again today. I'll definitely pay you back tomorrow, please." Of course, Donna never paid me back the next day either. I consulted my husband. "I'd like you to casually mention this to Donna. Don't make a big deal of her grocery money. Donna is single and lonely. Just let it slide." "It's not about a small amount. She always shops in huge quantities, and it's every week." "So, don't make a deal out of paying for groceries. Besides, we'll keep using your money from now on. Got it?" I felt a sense of helplessness at my husband's words and never brought up the subject of paying for sister-in-law's expenses again. One morning, sister-in-law came to my house with a big smile, but I had a bad feeling. Sure enough, sister-in-law started saying something outrageous. "Last week, I had a dinner party with some friends after a long time, and we've decided to go on a trip next month. So, Jessica, are you coming with us?" Sister-in-law said this knowing full well that there was no way I would go. "I'll pass, as I don't know anyone else." As if she'd been waiting for that response, sister-in-law eagerly said, "Oh, that's a shame. Well then, Jessica, can you cover the trip costs? It's just for one person since you're not going, so it's not a big amount." I was so stunned that I couldn't speak. Why should I have to pay for sister-in-law's trip? Seeing that I wasn't saying anything, sister-in-law said, "What's the matter, Jessica? Do you want to go after all? If you do want to come, I'm afraid you'll have to pay for 3 people. "Why would it be for 3 people? "Jessica, because you can afford it." Hearing those words, I was even more dumbfounded and started feeling sick. "Donna, I'm not feeling well today, so I'm going to rest." "Oh dear, take it easy, but don't forget about the payment." About that." I wanted to say that I couldn't do it, but before I could finish, sister-in-law had left. That night when my husband came home from work, I told him about sister-in-law's outrageous request, and he laughed and said, "Ha ha ha, Donna sure knows how to make bold requests." "Can you turn her down for me, Sheldon?" The moment I said that, my husband glared at me and said, "You're the one who got the request from Donna, so you deal with it." "She won't listen to anything I say. That's why I'm asking you, Sheldon." "Stop it. Don't bring me these annoying issues. Just pay it without complaining. I felt ashamed for having consulted my husband. In the end, I agreed to only cover the cost for sister-in-law's portion of the trip. Why only for one person? I said for 3 people. I will pay for your part, but there's no need for me to pay for strangers. Upon hearing that, sister-in-law clearly looked displeased and said to me, I'll let it go this time, but you won't do this again, right? I didn't answer sister-in-law's question. Jessica, why are you ignoring me and not responding? That attitude isn't good. Reflect on it. Sister-in-law left after telling me this in a clearly angry tone. The following month, after sister-in-law's trip was over, my husband and I were invited to his parents' house, so we decided to visit on Sunday before noon. When we arrived, sister-in-law was already waiting for us at the dining table. Sheldon, Jessica, welcome. I've prepared Sheldon's favorite. Sheldon, I bought you a souvenir. Thanks, Donna. I wonder what you got me. You'll see when you open it. I can't wait. This is for you, Jessica. Sister-in-law handed me a piece of paper. The piece of paper was a bill stating, karaoke set repair cost $1,000. What is this? On the night of the trip, I got drunk and accidentally broke the karaoke set. I understand that, but why do I have to pay for the repairs? Jessica, you didn't go on the trip, so you didn't spend any money, right? So think of it as if you joined us, and please cover the repair costs. Jessica, please do this favor for me. Yeah, it would be good for you to pay it. I wanted to run away from there. This was an absurd and unreasonable demand. I can't accept this. I don't want to pay this kind of money. Huh? I figured you'd say something like that, Jessica. Jessica, when will you learn the rules of my house? I don't know any such rule. I was crying as I said this. I ran out of my husband's family home, returned to my own house alone, and cried in bed for a long time. My husband didn't come home that day, so it seemed he stayed at his family's house. The word divorce crossed my mind. The next morning, my husband went to work from his family's house and came back home late at night. You'll always be a child. My husband said this to me without even looking at my face. What part of me is a child? Obviously, all of you. You married me, don't forget that. After saying that, he quickly went to take a bath and then went to sleep. I had begun to think that someday I wanted to get back at my husband, mother-in-law, and sister-in-law. Early the next morning, the phone rang, and the caller was my mother. I had a bad feeling. My mother had never called so early in the morning before. Mom, what happened? Jessica, Dad is in critical condition. My mother was crying. My father had been suffering from a lung condition and had been in and out of the hospital, and he was hospitalized at the time. What, Mom? You're at the hospital, right? I'm heading there right now. I quickly got ready and rushed to the hospital, meeting my exhausted mother in my father's room. The doctor was there, but when he saw me, he said, I think his time is near. Please talk to him one last time. I held my father's hand and spoke to him. Dad, it's me. Hang in there. Then my father squeezed my hand back with the little strength he had. Dad, you understand me, right? Get better soon so we can eat sushi together again. My father tried to slightly open his closed eyes, and tears were overflowing from them. My mother also held my father's hand and said through her tears, Hang in there. Don't leave me alone. At that moment, the medical equipment connected to my father made a noticeably loud noise. The doctor checked on my father and then informed us that he had passed away. My mother and I burst into tears. The doctors and nurses left the room, leaving us alone. A week had passed since my father's death. During that time, I'd been staying at my parents' house and was able to successfully complete the funeral. But once the tension had been lifted, I was overwhelmed with sadness as I truly realized that my father was gone. By the way, my husband briefly attended the funeral, but there was no sign of mother-in-law or sister-in-law. I had really wanted to stay here longer, but I decided to return to my husband's home the next day. That night, my mom spoke to me. "Jessica, there's a letter for you from Dad." I took the letter from my mom. It asked me to take good care of my mother and mentioned that the land my father owned would be transferred to my name. "Dad wanted to give that land to you, Jessica. I had no idea. He wanted to make sure you'd be okay if anything happened." Hearing those words, sadness welled up inside me again, and I buried my face in my mom's chest, crying. Mom held me without saying a word. The next day I went home, but my husband didn't say anything when he saw my face. My mother-in-law and sister-in-law spoke when they saw me. "Oh, it's been a while. Did you go on a trip or something?" "No, Mom. She was just taking a break at her parents' house. Right, Jessica?" Both of them, of course, knew about my father's passing. Despite this, their words had no trace of kindness. I didn't respond, realizing how futile it would be to argue. About a month had passed since my father's death. I had some errands at my parents' house and was driving there. On the way, I passed the land from my father and noticed a sign had been put up. I couldn't read the sign while driving, so I stopped the car to take a look. I was shocked when I saw what it said. It was a sign seeking tenants for a parking lot, and what's more, the contact information listed was my sister-in-law's name and phone number. I stared at the sign for a while, then snapped back to reality and took a picture with my phone. Then I called my mom. "Mom, have you heard anything from Sheldon's sister about the land Dad gave me?" "Sister? You mean Donna?" "No, I haven't heard anything. What's going on?" "I'm in front of the land right now, and it's been turned into a parking lot with Donna as the contact." "What? That's outrageous." "I wouldn't put it past her. I was planning to go to your house, Mom, but I'll cancel that. I'll go talk to Donna now." "Dad must be furious up in heaven." "It's okay. It's my land." I turned the car around and headed to my husband's family home. Sister-in-law and mother-in-law were having coffee when I arrived. "Stephanie and Donna, I'm sorry to interrupt your coffee, but I have something to ask." "Oh, what is it? Can't it wait?" "I have something I need to ask Donna right now." "What is it?" "It's about the land I inherited from my father." With that, sister-in-law laughed. "Oh, that? It was a waste to leave it unused, so I turned it into a parking lot." "Why would you do something like that without telling me?" "You were neglecting that land. Is there something wrong with using it effectively?" "I understand wanting to use it effectively, but it's strange not to tell me anything. It's my land, so shouldn't you have spoken to me first?" Then mother-in-law interjected. "What are you to this house?" "I'm Sheldon's wife, so I'm your daughter-in-law." "That's right." I felt frustrated with mother-in-law's tone. "So what?" Then mother-in-law chimed in with an excited tone. "Daughter-in-law's land is our family's land. If you interfere, we'll sue." I lost my cool at that remark and responded, "Don't talk nonsense. If you want to sue, go ahead." "Well, I'm shocked. Such a terrible way to speak. Your parents must have raised you poorly." "Just remember, I won't care if you regret this later." I said that to my mother-in-law and left my husband's family home to return to my own house. That night, when my husband came home from work, he said to me with a flushed face, "Hey, it seems like you said something awful to Mom. She's angry." My husband already knew about the argument I had with mother-in-law and the others today. Mother-in-law must have called him and exaggerated the story. "It's Donna who's awful. She turned my land into a parking lot without asking me." "So what? Did it harm you in any way?" No, but it's wrong not to tell me about it.
I don't think it's wrong. You're my wife, so your land is our family's land.
My husband echoed mother-in-law's words. Besides, how does Donna know I inherited that land?
I told her.
Why did you know?
I saw the inheritance documents on your desk, and I mentioned the land.
So you looked at my documents without permission?
We're married, aren't we?
Convenient how we're only married when it suits you. Tears streamed down my face as I spoke.
Enough. If you don't like my family so much, leave, right now.
Fine, I'll leave. I retorted to my husband's words and left the house. But I didn't regret it at all and felt relieved once I left. I went back to my parents' house and my mom said,
I knew you'd come back. I had a feeling this would happen after your call this morning.
It's too much, isn't it? Stephanie saying, daughter-in-law's land is our family's land. We'll sue if you interfere.
Sue for what, I wonder? You haven't done anything wrong.
I'm so frustrated. What should I do? My mom thought for a moment and then said,
If they're talking about suing, you should sue too. I'll contact Dad's lawyer friend for you.
A few days later, my mom and I met with a lawyer named Kevin, who was a friend of my father's, and I told him about how sister-in-law had turned my land into a parking lot without permission. The lawyer laughed and said,
Haha, it's your land, so there's no problem. I'll talk to them first, and if they don't understand, we'll formally sue.
The following week, the lawyer and I visited my husband's family home after giving them a heads up. My husband, mother-in-law, and sister-in-law were all there waiting. The lawyer explained to the three of them that sister-in-law's actions were extremely malicious, incorporating legal interpretations. However, sister-in-law seemed unconvinced and shouted, It's daughter-in-law's land. Isn't daughter-in-law's land our family land?
Legally, there's no such interpretation.
I don't want to hear about complicated legal talk. You may be a smart lawyer, but you seem to lack common sense. Sister-in-law was giving the lawyer, who was about her parents' age, a piece of her mind. The lawyer calmly said,
If you continue to use the land without permission, it can lead to serious legal consequences.
What a cheeky man! The husband had a serious expression on his face after listening to the lawyer. He probably realized they were going to lose.
Sheldon, what do we do? Do we sue? I can file a lawsuit if you want.
The husband said with a slightly flustered expression.
Let's not do that. Sheldon, why are you being so timid? Mom, it's no use. No matter how you look at it, we'd lose in court.
Sheldon, but... The husband cut off sister-in-law's words.
Donna, be quiet. Give me a moment.
What are you going to do?
I get it. We were wrong. We won't sue.
Mother-in-law and sister-in-law were dumbfounded at his words.
That's a wise decision.
Then please remove the sign from that parking lot immediately. That's not a big deal. I'll give you half of the parking lot rent. Upon hearing this, the lawyer said to sister-in-law,
The parking lot is Jessica's land, so you have no right to collect rent.
That's right. It's my land. Please remove it immediately.
Okay, I'll remove it.
Just removing the sign won't be enough. There are already several cars parked there, right? Cancel those contracts as well. It might cause some trouble, but do your best. How cruel.
Who's being cruel here? So, we're good with you not suing, right?
Well, let me think. Yes, I'd like to see some sincerity from all three of you.
What do you mean by sincerity?
I'm not threatening you. I just want a heartfelt apology. What should we do? You can think about that yourself.
You're a scary one. All right, I get it.
With that, the husband offered a profound apology. He also motioned for mother-in-law and sister-in-law to apologize deeply, while he hung his head. Mother-in-law apologized tearfully, but sister-in-law had a discontented look on her face. I said, Donna's apology isn't sincere. An apology like that means nothing.
Donna apologized properly.
After being told by my husband, sister-in-law reluctantly apologized politely. Seeing this, I felt that my revenge on these people was complete. Fine, I understand. Also, I won't be coming here ever again. I headed back with the lawyer. I had the lawyer inform my husband that he would proceed with the divorce. The lawyer said,
Jessica, that was impressive. It might have been a bit over the top, but it probably served as a good lesson for those three.
Indeed, thank you so much.
This is the end. Jessica, please be very happy from now on.
Thank you, I'll definitely be happy. About a month later, the divorce proceedings were completed smoothly, and I was to receive compensation. One day, when I went to check on my land, I saw that the sign had been removed and there were no cars parked, which gave me relief. Another month passed, and I remembered that my graduation album was still at my ex-husband's house. Reluctantly, I called my ex-husband and told him I would come to pick it up, only to be told something surprising.
You can come and get it, but we don't live in that house anymore. We're in an apartment nearby, and I'm not sure if all your stuff is there, but I packed it in a box for you.
My ex-husband's voice lacked its usual energy, and was clear that he was not well. The next day I visited the apartment that my ex-husband had told me about, and when I knocked on the door, a haggard man who looked like a completely different person came out and said to me,
Here's the box. Take it.
You look worn out.
Yeah, a lot has happened.
What happened?
I was told to leave by the landlord of the parking lot. The tenant likes to cause trouble, and it ended up in a legal mess.
Oh dear.
In the end, I lost and had to pay an enormous amount.
It can't be helped if you lost.
I tried to win the money back they made me pay by gambling, but instead I lost everything and ended up like this.
You can't expect to make money that easily with gambling. You're being naive. Even when I said this, he didn't get angry as he used to. He just hung his head in low spirits. What about Stephanie and Donna?
Both of them are working part-time jobs. After my day job ends, I also go to work as a night security guard.
My ex-husband said this with a lonely smile on his face. Inwardly, I thought that they had received their just desserts.